Hello guys, I want to welcome you guys to day 12 of your Python learning. So I want to believe you guys have been having a lot of fun regarding your learning so far. So today we're going to be diving deep into functions. We're going to be diving deeper into what functions is all about. I remember a couple of videos back we talked about functions, but we didn't really have so much time to dive deep into that, and we really want to dive deep into this today so that you guys can have a full grasp of what functions entails, and then how you can build your own functions and how you can pass in those parameters and do a lot of have a lot of fun with functions. All right, so one thing first I would love to talk about functions is, okay, before I go ahead, let's just assume a function begins with the def, right? Then the name, after that you have the name of the function. Let's just assume the name of the function is my name, right? And then it takes in some certain types of argument and then definitely returns something. So one thing I want you guys to see a function, I want you guys to see a function as a building block to solving a bigger problem. So let's see a function as a black box that has various inputs and then it has an output. So you have the inputs here, maybe it is x, y, three inputs as x, y, z, and then the output is maybe the sum of x plus y plus z. Do you understand? So you just have something like the inputs are x, y, z, and then the output is x plus y plus z. So that is what a function is. A function, you should see a function as a black box. So inside the black box you have more or less like what you want the function to do to those inputs, and then what you want it to do regarding the output. Let's just say we want it to return, let's just assume var is equals to x times y minus z. All right, so let's just assume we want the function to return var, right? So we can just so what this function does is it multiplies x times y and then subtracts the result from z, and then it returns whatever the result is going to be. But now, how do we actually use this function? To actually use a function like this, you call the function this way: my name into brackets, then you pass in what your x should be, x. So let's assume x is 45, let's assume y is 78, 79, and then z is 12, right? So that is the way you pass on a function, right? So now we've created a function called my name, and it takes in three different arguments called 45, 79, and 12. So what this function does is it multiplies 49 times 79 and then subtracts the result from 12 and assigns the output result to var. So var, then this function definitely returns a result to var. Now because our function is going to be returning something, let us assume that let's say var me is the output. So because this function is going to be returning something, whatever it returns is going to assign it to a variable called var me. So we can go ahead to print var me, right? Okay, so when you run this, when you run this guy, you have this result. Okay, let me just show it to you guys. You have this result. So it's telling us that 45 times 79 minus 12 is 3543. All right, let's get back to our program. Okay, so now what am I trying to emphasize? One thing I want you guys to understand from this little description of a function. So we have a function called my name. So the function takes in three different arguments. It does multiplication and then subtraction, and then it returns something. So this function is actually a black box that does multiplication and subtraction, and then the results, whatever this function returns, it sets that output to var me, and then we print out var me. Okay, now one thing I also want you guys to know is that there's a variable called var. Now this variable is local to this function. This variable is only known within this function. If you want to actually use this function this variable outside the function such that another function can make use of it, then it has to be defined outside the function so that you can use it. Now, so that is what we mean by a variable. So when a variable is outside a function, like let's say relic. Okay, let's just assume relic is 34, right? So we want to say return var minus relic, right? So now we already know that relic is 34, so when we run this program, we have this. So when we removed 34 from 3543, we have 3509. Now what is happening here? This function relic is actually a global function, so I want you guys to see it as a global function. Right now, because it is global, because it is outside the function, any other function, like, okay, another function like pow me x y return x times y, another function like pow me can use relic. Any function within this program have access to using relic. But now pow me var here is actually a let me just put it this way, var is actually a local function because it can only be used within this function. Right now, if you try to call var, let's say print, let's just assume, okay, let me just run this program. So pow me, so let me copy this guy out and then copy this guy out. So let's just say pow me 2334. It's going to return something, right? So let's just say var me. Okay, so we then say print var me, right? So now when you say when you do this, it's going to say 23 times 34 minus relic. That is 23 times 34 minus 34. So it's going to print out that. And let us run this program. So when we run this program, we have 748, right? All right, so now let's get back to our program. Now let us try to call var. Now var is local to this function. I want you guys to know that it's local to this function. Another function cannot use it. Functions outside a variable declared within another function outside that function cannot use it. So now let's try this and let's see what happens. We're going to see that we're going to have an error. So when we run this, we look at this, we see this error. Okay, let me bring this up for you. Okay, so let me bring this up for you. Okay, let me bring this up for you a little bit. So let me try a little bit. Okay, so bring this up for you a little bit. Okay, so now you can see it's saying var is not defined. Now what exactly is happening here? So one thing I want you guys to know, var is a local variable, relic is a global variable. Global variables can be used within any other function, within functions. You can call relic in this function, you can call relic in this function, but you can't call var in this function because var is not known in this function. So that's gonna be it about local and global variables in functions. So in my next video, in our next video, Python Ife, we're going to be talking more about more about functions. All right, thank you for listening. Have a nice time. Bye.